Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. This is Inside the Program. I'm Joe Cook filling in for Eric Naleen. Got Justin Wells as usual. Make sure if you're watching to like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on podcast, give us a rating and review. Of course, head to InsideTexas.com. You can get 50% off your annual membership. If you head over there now's a great time to get it. You'll be able to get the home stretch of the season, a playoff run, and everything up to signing day. So, Justin, it's an opportunity for Texas to get a bounce back game, and it feels like, based off everything we've heard coming from the week of practice, they've given the type of effort that you would be confident in seeing a bounce back performance come from.
Yeah, it was symbolic when David Benda and DeAndre Moore spoke to the team after the loss last Saturday night. And it wasn't a meeting or anything like that. It was listen, the goals are still in front of you guys. The goals are still in front of all of us, and we can accomplish this. And that's kind of the culture kind of setting in, because it's easy to have good culture when you win. But when you lose is when you get tested. And I think that's what's happening to these guys right now. Even Nick Saban talked about that this week. But with Sark it's about being tested. It's about how your resolve, how you kind of fight back. And so that's the thing. That's kind of the theme of the locker room this week. It's get ready, because in the SEC, I think these guys, even though it's their first year there, they realize they can't let one loss beat them again. They have got to be prepared for the next week, because it is a gauntlet. It is it's tough. They've got a lot of good games ahead of them. And Vanderbilt is not a team you can feel sorry for yourself for. Vanderbilt is not a team you can take for granted. Diego Pavia is very known at InsideTexas.com. And so I think they understand everything's still in front of them. And I think Sark has been really consistent with that this week.
Well, let's go to some of the news that we put out there, Eric put out there, you helped contribute to last night. Isaiah Bond was downgraded to doubtful on the SEC injury report on Thursday night. That means that, in light of that, we're expecting Ryan Wingo to get the start up there in Nashville. Kind of what has he done to be able to earn this opportunity, and what do you expect to see from Wingo?
Yeah, the thing that we've heard about Wingo from January was how hard he worked and how much he dove into buy-in. And a lot of guys, that's the first thing they do. They come in ready to go. But Ryan he was very, very diligent. This is a kid that was told, hey, if you do the right things, you can get on the field early. He played really well in the spring. He earned that in the summertime with all that work. He's done that in August. He earned it he earned the respect of the teammates. And now it looks like with Isaiah Bond being doubtful, Ryan Wingo is going to make his first start. Look, it's about putting in the work. And I think Sark, and in this case, Chris Jackson, are rewarding Ryan Wingo for this. It's about that. I think it's similar to what they did with Trey Wisner a few weeks ago. It's earning that role, earning that right to start and to kind of get those reps. Listen, we've seen Ryan play quite a bit when Bond was out. And so I believe it was at OU where he had missed a good chunk of that, and Wingo played quite a bit. And so this is a kid that has earned the right to start. This is a kid that's earned those stripes, and he's the future of this program, Joe. He's the one that's got so much upside on the offensive side of the ball. He's kind of the counter to Colin Simmons in some regards. And so for Wingo, I think it's hard work paying off. And here's the biggest thing. These quarterbacks trust him. Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning, they love him. They trust him. And anytime you're trying to put together the best offense and game plan in a week, you want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Those guys love that kid. So Ryan Wingo's earned that right to start on Saturday.
Speaking of quarterbacks, everybody's going to have a focus on Quinn Ewers. I looked it up, or James Hayden, our guy, looked it up. He's 4-0 and coming off of losses. Do you think he can make it 5-0? And how did he look this week?
Yeah, he looks solid. He's got things he knew he had to fix, and I think some of it was complimentary. Some of it was on tape. Some of it was, hey, if the O-line does a little bit better, if he does a little bit better. It was one of those things, kind of, let's not blame one thing. Let's just try to figure out what the problem is as a whole. And they ran into a buzzsaw, a bunch of Bulldogs from Georgia. Quinn Ewers is back on the saddle. I talked to somebody this week that said, look, this is a kid he'll get knocked off and he'll jump right back on. And I think getting him fundamentally sound and getting him back on the horse is the biggest thing right there. Look, Vanderbilt's they're not gonna you're not gonna see the same front you saw that you did from Georgia. You're not gonna see that same sort of pass rush, but you're going to see a good team. You're going to see a good game. This is an opportunity for Quinn to kind of get that confidence back, for him to be able to step up in the pocket, step into his throws, just little basics like that, because Sark still believes in this guy. Absolutely. And Arch, you got a guy that's kind of looking, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder, Joe. That's the biggest thing. It's not a quarterback controversy or anything like that. That being said, Quinn's got to play better. Quinn has to play better on Saturday. And I think it's expected that he will. And I think that's the theme from the week so far, that they really like what they see. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if him and Wingo connect on some stuff early.
You know who there's definitely no controversy about, Justin?
That's Andre the Lawyer. This video, it's brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Do not let an insurance company tell you what your claim is worth. You've got to trust Andre the Lawyer. 214-444-8808. He is located in Dallas, but he'll help Texans throughout. He really is a great guy, and if you're ever stuck, that's the call. Andre the Lawyer, 214-444-8808.
Moving on, this is one of those games, and Clark Lee knows what his personnel and its limitations are. They're probably, even without Isaiah Bond to take the top off the defense, they're going to try to make sure they don't get beat deep, give up those explosives, because if you're playing ball control, 10-second scores aren't what you want. So is this a big game for the tight end, not in a check down capacity, but in an underneath route capacity, specifically Gunnar Helm?
It could be. This is something, when we're not expecting Gunnar Helm big games, that's when he pops it. That's when he comes in and comes strong. And if you want to see that Michigan version, you might see that in Nashville on Saturday. Look, you don't have Isaiah Bond, so the offense does change a little bit. Some of the dynamics changes a little bit. But Gunnar Helm is a guy that when you least expect it, he's a Charlie Williams special. When you least expect it, that guy comes through. And the biggest thing for me, I think, with him is also with Juan Davis. I think they do a lot of good stuff together. I think they're trying to incorporate Juan a lot more as well. And I love that, because I think it gives them a lot. I think they do a lot more in that 12 personnel with those two guys. Gunner's a guy that, he has put together an incredible season. He looks like an all SEC type guy. This is a game you want to help your quarterback get back on track. Get your safety right. Get that safety valve right. Open it up, and that's tight end, and that's Gunnar Helm. He makes Quinn Ewers' life a lot easier, and so I think that's been kind of some of the focus this week. Hey, let's go ahead and when things aren't looking as well, let's go back to basics, and some of those basics are hitting Gunnar Helm.
One of the things that we also know about, and everybody saw this, was that the Longhorns had a rough go in a lot of different areas during the course of Saturday's loss to Georgia. It was mostly the offense, but there was some stuff on defense as well. Sark has talked about how they do a good, bad, and ugly film session, I think either on Sunday or on Monday before they start practicing, showing all the different stuff, showing everything where they succeeded and failed. And man, everything to what we've heard was under the microscope this week, and including, some tells. So that was something they focused on. And I don't think that's just a player thing. I feel like Sark understands that when you're up against an apparatus like Georgia, who can scout you and has a defensive mind with capable talent scouting you, especially Walker and Williams and Damon Wilson, the 3 Ws, those guys are going to be able to, find the weaknesses and really exploit them. So they really did a lot of good self-scouting and made sure that some of the problems this week were attended to. And hopefully, that is going to lead, to confidence for the offense. But we heard, Justin, there's some real confidence for the defense.
It really is. Like, going into Georgia, I think that the overall mindset was this is an offensive-based team with a really good defense. And after Georgia, I think this is a defensive-based team with a pretty good offense. Like, this is the strength of the team. And this is something I don't know if we necessarily talked about a lot or we even brought up in the spring just because of all the moving parts. But it was a matter of time because Sark and PK and those guys have collected such a strong contingent of guys on that side of the ball, and they came out with, again, not giving up 300 yards. They absolutely gave Carson Beck bunches, but they brought him through hell in that game. It may not have seemed like it, but that was a great defensive performance. If the offense doesn't give them so many opportunities, it does get better. The defense knows now if the offense sputters, which is rare, but if it does, they can take hold. They can take control. And I got to tell you, this week is going to be a test. I think they see that. The defense has gotten past Georgia. I think they're more in a licking their chops, hey, who's next kind of mentality. And look, Diego Pavia is that guy. And I think that's an easy motivator for some of those guys in that locker room, especially on that defensive side. There were some tells on the offense that they're little things that they wanted to get better, maybe some little giveaways on the offensive line that guys were doing that didn't realize they were doing it. And I think that's in every program. And like you said, Sark's going to be meticulous about all that stuff, but the defense is definitely confident. If you talk to guys close to the program, Anthony Hill, Leona LaFau, Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton, Eric's guy has been huge this year. Jade Barron playing at a unbelievable All-American level. That defense is very confident right now. And I think, we're talking about like a David Benda or Leona LaFau. I think you're going to see both of these guys. I think you're going to continue to see that. It feels like Texas may be even pushing towards a little bit more of a youth movement. Not so much, getting rid of Benda. Benda's still that guy, but LaFau is really improved. He has really gathered that side of the ball, his position. And I think he's a guy you can trust too. People don't realize how good he was in coverage in high school. He's doing a lot of that in at the college level. So I think you're going to see doses of both of those guys. I still think it's going to be LaFau, but that's the defense. They're confident. They have a different mindset, I feel like. And they know, look, if the offense doesn't show up, we really got to pack our bags and get to work.
Yeah, there's confidence in those guys. Probably seeing a little bit more LaFau than Benda. There's confidence in even, what Trey Moore and Colin Simmons are able to do. And there's confidence. I know a lot of people have been pretty down on the special teams compared to last year. Last year had great special teams, block kicks, returns. A lot of the guys who made that happen are not here. They're on NFL rosters. But they still feel like they're about to turn a corner on special teams. That probably includes getting a healthy Kern. And they are waiting for Silas Bolden to get one going. They have faith in him doing it, but they feel like that is something on the way. So, Justin, I appreciate you letting me stand in for this one. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, if you're on podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and review. And if you have not yet, head to InsideTexas.com. You can get 50% off of your annual membership. Appreciate Andre the Lawyer as always. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.